Hi Jocks, welcome to section 5 of trading the 1 hour opening range. And I want to start this segment by I forgot to mention something in our previous example with the first opening range that we spoke about. Now, remember when I said that price normally respects the real body? And that's not just the opening range, that's pretty much support and resistance in general. But I wanted to mention that because this bar here, it closed above the low of the open range, but however it did not close above the open or the real body of this 1 hour open range bar. And when we look at it here, and this is the open, and we can look over and see that the close here is at 107.30 and the open here is at 107.30. So actually, in my opinion, we did not have a close within the open range because I like to use real bodies. And that's all I wanted to say on that one. But now just going back and looking at the opening range for various days, and once again, Jocks, I have not gone over these in advance, and I'm actually analyzing these as we go along based on the open range. Okay, here we have a bullish breakout again on the open range, and we can see here that the low of the open range is here, and we had a close just a tad, a couple of pips below the low of the opening range. But let's see what our volume looked like here. So that's why it did not continue down. It broke out of the opening range on a lower volume. We can see down here that the volume is lower, so that's not a valid breakout of the opening range. And it's pretty close. What's the low? The low on this opening range bar is 107.83, and the close of this down bar that broke the range is 107.82. So 1 pip below the open range on lower volume. Okay, that tells us that's not a valid short signal for the open range. And then also, as we mentioned before, that we want to incorporate also our footstep rules. And if we look at this bar here, we see that this is the support bar that stopped the fall from the open range. And so we have here the close below the open range, but no trade signal. And we go here and we have a close, a breakout high above the open range, and it's on higher volume. So now that's a buy signal. That's a buy signal just based on the open range rules. And come down here to the real body of the open range, the close here, that would be our buy signal, our buy point. Okay, but now we look and we see that this bar closed back within the open range. So now we went long the open range here, and this bar closed at 107.93. And so when this bar came back and touched, and especially when we consider that we have red bars here for support here, and this bar closed at 107.93 and 107.93. So now if we had entered here at 107.93, and this closed at 107.93. Even though we have a long signal, it's safe, it's time to get out. Why is it time to get out? Because we closed back within the range of the 1 hour bar. And so now, once we close within the range, okay, once again, now the top of the range becomes resistance. So we know at the close, even though we're in long, we get out. We're in, we're out. And if we get out here like we're supposed to at the close, that's a break even. Now since the top of the range is now resistance, we can anticipate price moving up to test resistance, and we could wait for that and try to get about 10 pips out of the trade, 10-12 pips out of the trade, but it's safest just to get out now, even though we know that anytime support and resistance is broken, there's usually a pullback on the reaction. And this is the reaction bar, and when it pulled back, where did it stop before continuing back down? It bounced off the high of the open range. So now we're out, but even on this bar, I wouldn't be in, because even though I'm anticipating a pullback to the high of the open range, and even anticipating that price may fall, but I'm looking here and I see that at the formation here on the breakout of it created a bull pivot. So I'm not actually playing the pivot though here. I'm playing the opening range. So when I'm not going to enter I'm not going to enter here as normal pivot rules at the pivot point, and my stop is not going to go below the low of the swing bar here. Is in a normal pivot. I mean, I could do that, okay, but we're talking specifically now about the 1 hour opening range, and we get our close below the opening range here. Now we have a true short signal, and if we got higher volume here, and let's see what kind of volume we got on this bar. We got lower volume.